ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sports Side. It's me, Abdul Shahbaz, and with me, my co-host Muhammad Hassan. And today we are joined by former Irish Test cricketer Kevin O'Brien. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you? And it's a pleasure to having you on board.
Yeah, thanks a million. Thanks for having me on board. Excited to get on and talk to you guys and about what I'm doing now and the future and reminisce a little bit on the past.
Yeah. So from former Test cricketer to coaching an international team to operating an academy as well, many achievements in your CV. But if in 2026 we talk about you, how do you define yourself? Who is you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just first of all, I'm a father and a husband. That's first and foremost. I've got a girl who's almost 10 and a son who's just turned 7. So, yeah, that's the main priority in my life is my family. But obviously, I love cricket, and cricket's been very good to me over my playing career. And it's just great to be able to give back to the game. Currently with my role with Italy, and also my private academy here based in Dublin. So yeah, just hard working, just get stuck in and trying to help and trying to pass on some knowledge that I've gained over the years to younger players and not also not just younger players, players of all ages and abilities. Just
Mm.
trying to pass on some information to them.
Yeah. So the question is that how it's hard to get involved after a great playing career, you transit yourself into a coaching role. So how difficult it was and how it is to be a coach now who was a great player before.
Well, that's very kind. No, it was quite easy for me. I suppose I've been doing my academy since 2011, on and off, working it around my playing schedule. So I've always wanted to go into coaching, and I knew that from a fairly early age in my playing career. So I've been kind of working towards that transition for a good 5 or 6 or maybe even longer years. So once I finished playing international cricket, I kind of knew the steps I needed to take, and I knew how to go down the avenue I wanted to go down, having kind of put a lot of time and effort into it. Last 3 or 4 years of my playing career.
Amazing. Kevin, talking about your academy, I just came across the website, which looks absolutely amazing. The Instagram clips from Facebook, I've seen it. It looks really nice, based in Dublin. So, what are your plans with the academy? How does it operate? Have you got any new emerging stars coming through? And how have you transitioned from a player to a coach? How's it like being there? And hopefully, sometime soon we could cover the academy as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's being a coach is it's a lot different than a player. As a player, you're very you've got your own thoughts, and you only really concentrate on your own game effectively. It can be quite selfish in a way. You get to train and you work on your own game. You make sure your game is in a position where it needs to be for you to perform for the team. But ultimately, it's an individual based sport in a team environment, if that makes sense. So, so as a coach, you obviously have a squad of X amount of players to look after, and you've got to give your time equally to each player. So, I think that's the biggest transition and probably the biggest challenge as a new coach, kind of finding my way in the game, is to be able to give that time equally amongst a squad of 15 or 20 players. So that's one of the things that I'm working on consistently. And I'll probably always be working on that. So, just regards my academy, it's I've got a lot of things in my head of where I want to take it. Currently I do a lot of one-to-one stuff here in Dublin. Do some sessions with clubs, universities, a little bit of corporate stuff. And then obviously one-to-one individual sessions and small group sessions. So I'd like to get to a stage where I can invite players over, or players can come over, for a 3 week block or a 6 week block, or a 2 month block or whatever it might be. Hopefully I can get in a position in the future where players from all over Europe, players from even further afield can come and can train for a period of time, and play some games here in club cricket here in Ireland as well, which would be great.
And that sounds amazing, and for sure you would be able to achieve this. So, Kevin, talking about the your coaching efforts have, for sure have reaped rewards, right? Italy just qualified into the T20 World Cup. Would you like to shed some light onto that? You sharing a group with West Indies, England, Bangladesh, and Nepal. I'm sure you will be looking to take one heavyweights down. You've already taken England down during your playing career. So how are you looking forward to the World Cup? How's the stint with Italy? How's the atmosphere like? How are things like that?
Yeah, it's great. You know, I've been with the Italian team now since 2022, so coming on 3.5 years. And the team's really and the team and the depth of players has really grown and in that time. So, you know, we were very close to qualifying for the last World Cup, the one based in West Indies and America. We only lost to Ireland by 6 runs in the qualifier. If we had won that game, we would have qualified ahead of Ireland. So we knew we know that the ability is in the side. We've obviously got a few more players in recent times that has made the playing 11 and the playing 15 very strong. So we're very confident going into the tournament. We have a nice preparation leading into it in Dubai. We play 3 games against Ireland, and we also play a game against Namibia before we land in Chennai on the 31st of January. So we'll have 6 games before our first World Cup game, which will give us great uh, competition for places. First of all, between the 15 players in the squad, and also give us great preparation and confidence going into the tournament. So, I really see Italian cricket where Irish cricket was in 2007.
Mm.
Before we went to the Caribbean. Yes, Irish cricket probably has a little bit more foundations in place, or had a little bit more foundations in place than Italy currently do. But I think on the field, you know, I think the teams are equally matched. You know, the Irish '07 team and the Italian team that they'll take the field in this World Cup. You know, very talented, strong self belief in the abilities, well organized through coaching staff who've obviously been there before and played in World Cups as associate nations with myself and Dougie Brown's a bowling coach, ex Scottish player, who
Mm.
was very successful coach in England and UAE. And John Davidson is head coach who played for Canada, who had the fastest 100 in the World Cup in 2003 against
Right.
West Indies.
Yeah.
So we've got a very strong coaching group with a lot of experience at associate level. I think that certainly helps, and it certainly helped in Holland in the qualifying tournament in June. So yeah, we're really excited. You know, it's a great opportunity for us as staff and us as players to push Italian cricket forward, which is first and foremost, and try and make the world known that Italy have a team, and a team that are capable of playing at World Cups, and not just playing, but also competing and hopefully winning games.
For
Yeah,
sure.
so you just talk about the amazing journey of Italy, and we have seen. I want to talk about Joe Burns, his contribution in the qualifiers. How do you rate his contributions? And despite he will not be part of World Cup squad, but how do you rate his contribution towards the Italy team?
Yeah, I think Joe, when he came in, he brought a real level of preparation to the team. Obviously, a high level of skill on the pitch. His record with Australia and in first class cricket for many years is speaks for itself. So, but what he really brought into the team was a bit of self belief and a bit of really focusing on preparation and planning and execution of the game plans and against each individual teams and each individual bowlers. He was really meticulous and really well thought out of how he's going to go in and wanted the team to play. So that really stood out in Holland, and it was such a great achievement and a great feeling for everyone to be involved, in that final game when we qualified for World Cup. So yeah, it's hopefully now in the tournament in India that we can continue that preparation and really continue that planning that was brought in by Joe, and hopefully we can go on and win some games.
So, you just talk about the World Cup in India, and let's stay to the topic of World Cup. How do you see the conditions out there, and do you think that that will be a tougher for you guys or SENA countries to play over there, because the pitches in India or mostly in subcontinent it support they support spinners more. So how do you rate the conditions over there, and the other teams? Who do you think can be the most of toughest opponent for Italy and overall?
Well, I think the wickets are going to be pretty good. You look at the grounds that they've chosen. Certainly in India, Eden Gardens is always pretty flat. Mumbai is always pretty flat where we play our games. So, I think certainly the first phase of the tournament, I expect to see high scoring games. 200 crossed quite a lot of times, and potentially chased down on a few occasions. So, I think that will be the first kind of 2 weeks of the tournament. Will be a lot of high scoring runs. Maybe when get into the back end of the Super Eights and into the semi-finals, you might see some kind of not worn wickets, but wickets that have certainly been used and maybe are a little bit more conducive to spin. But all in all, I expect pretty flat wickets. Obviously good spinners will get wickets, as we see in international cricket. Good bowlers, good pace bowlers will get wickets, but I think the batters, have an opportunity to score big runs and put big scores on the board. So, I think it's going to be an exciting tournament, and obviously certainly super excited to be involved from a coaching point of view.
For sure, we were really all looking forward to watch you in Italy. So, given you've had such a decorated career, I mean, it just brings me goosebumps to say that over 150 one-day internationals, 100 T20 internationals, and three Test matches as well, including a century on their debut. When you look back, what are you most proud of, and like, how do you feel evolved as a cricketer over time? Because when we talk about the face of Irish cricket, I mean, we think of you and your brother. So, how do you look back at it?
Yeah, I think obviously very proud. To play for my country for 16 or 17 years, which is first and foremost for me as a kid growing up in Dublin here, wasn't even thought of. So obviously immensely proud from that point of view to be able to I suppose play for Ireland and play in front of a great crowd and fans who loved watching us play. I think the big thing is, and the big thing when I look back on not just my career, but the kind of time that I was involved in the team. To bring it from the amateur organization that it was in the amateur era when we were in 2006 2007 to where Irish cricket is now, and Test nation and fully professional players, to be able to have a kind of a influence in that and to be a part of that journey is really exciting. And it's kind of like left a little legacy of where Irish cricket was and where it is now. So I suppose that's the challenge of players when they come into international cricket. How can you leave the team in a better position when you started? So ultimately myself and Niall, we played in the amateur era right through the professional era. So it was great to be a part of, and great to look back and see where Irish cricket is now.
For sure, you've made Ireland proud.
Yeah, so he also featured for topping English county teams such as Nottinghamshire and Gloucestershire, Somerset. So, alongside playing in leagues like CPL and BBL, so how important were those environments? And now as a coach, what do you think that playing in different leagues and county, how it's important for player to play in those leagues, and what exposure it gives to a young player, and what it helps to you? Because players playing at associate nations like if we talk about Ireland and the teams who do not play that amount of international matches. So what's your take on this?
Yeah, I think for me, county cricket in England was a huge benefit. I was very lucky to play 6 or 7 years over there, and just the standard of training pitches, the standard of match wickets, the opposition you play against, the opposition or the players you play with, the standard is higher there than it is in Ireland. So for me, it was a great opportunity to go over and become a better cricketer, train with some great coaches, train in some great facilities, and then ultimately come back to the Irish team a better player. So I think it was a huge opportunity for me, and all the other tournaments that I played in Afghanistan Premier League, Caribbean Premier League, Bangladesh, New Zealand, Nepal, they all gave me opportunities to go and grow. And for me, playing in different conditions, it helps you as a cricketer. You find out quickly how how to be successful on different wickets, whether it's a spinning wicket or it's a bouncy wicket in Australia or in New Zealand or South Africa. And no, and then you learn how to play on that. You learn how to play on a slow spinning wicket, maybe in Bangladesh. So those opportunities for me to play in those tournaments was hugely beneficial, and it made me a better cricketer. I came back to the Irish team a better cricketer. With different ideas. That was, I was speaking and talking cricket with some of the best players in the world. So you can only you can only learn from that, from those experiences. And I was very grateful to have many opportunities to go overseas and develop as a cricketer and come back to the national team here in Ireland a better all rounder.
Yeah. So you also got a chance to play the first ever test match for Ireland, and for any cricketer, it's a prestigious format to play and to recognize as a test cricketer. So how was that feeling, and what was that moment for you? Because you was the man of the match of that match, I remember, against Pakistan. So what was that feeling out there, and how it's important to play a test cricket for nowadays, for and because as we see Ireland play many less test matches, so how it's important to play test matches nowadays.
Yeah, I think for me, when I look back, to say that I've played Test cricket and played three Test matches, that's again a hugely proud moment for me. So growing up here in Ireland, I'm the youngest kid of six. Niall's the second youngest. So we always played cricket in the garden. We were very fortunate to have a front garden and a back garden in our house. So myself and Niall would be in the front garden, 4 or 5 days a week. Certainly during the summer, when we'd be playing tennis ball cricket, and it was always a test match. It was never a 50 over game. It was obviously T20 wasn't around then. This is late 90s, mid 90s, late 90s. As a 10-year-old, Niall was 12 or 13. And we were out in the front garden for 2 or 3 hours playing. It was always test matches. It was always Australia. Niall was always Australia. I was always England, because that's the most. They're the teams we saw the most of. We always saw the Ashes on BBC TV or Channel 4 here in UK and Ireland. So we always played Test cricket, always two innings. So I mean, we grew up watching Test cricket, and it's always held a special place in my heart. To the challenges that multi-day cricket bring, whether it's Test cricket or it's first class cricket. The challenge that presents players. Technical, tactical, mental, physical, emotional. It attacks everything as a cricketer that you need, and it's a real test and it's a real challenge. So then to be able to fast forward, 15 years or so, 20 years, to be able then to play the first Test match, as you mentioned, in 2018, which was an absolutely hugely proud moment, but very emotional moment too. To know that where Irish cricket had gone or had come from, to know that the people who'd played for Ireland before me, even back into the 80s and 70s, that they were part of the journey that brought Irish cricket towards Test status. It's not just the current generation that were played from 2007 to 2018. It's the guys who played in 2005, the guys who played in 2000, the guys who played in the mid 90s. They all had a part of bringing Irish cricket on this journey where it is, where it was, and obviously it's continued now to this day. So I think everybody who's played for Ireland, whether they've played 100 times or they've played one time, they've all contributed to where Irish cricket is at the moment. Whether it's through playing international cricket or playing for your club, because ultimately club cricket here in Ireland is very important to the continued success of international cricket, with very limited first class and list A cricket being played here in Ireland. The clubs hold a huge they can be hugely positive to shaping Irish cricket with the young players that they produce. So yeah, it's like a big family here in Ireland, and to be able to play a role in that journey to Test cricket, and then ultimately play those three Test matches, I'm hugely proud.
For sure. Kevin, for a fact, we know that the Under 19 World Cup is just about to get underway in Zimbabwe and Namibia, and the Irish team just recently traveled, and we wish them all the best of luck. 2003, 2004, you had the privilege of representing Ireland at the Under-19 World Cup and you piled up 241 runs. I mean, you shared the dressing room with William Porterfield, who later went on to captain Ireland. You were there with Ian Morgan. How do you look back at that experience? And were you guys confident of the fact that, Ireland would be capable of achieving something great later on the global stage?
Well, that tournament for me was a real eye opener. I didn't really take cricket seriously until that tournament. I was more of a bowler who did a little bit of batting, but I came home from that tournament in Bangladesh as a genuine all rounder. My batting kind of went on to a new level after that tournament. So it was only really after that tournament that I came home and I thought to myself, actually, I want to try and make it as a cricketer. Whereas previously, I just played cricket for a bit of fun in my local club. I didn't really take it that seriously. Didn't train very hard. But ultimately, after that tournament, I came home and I thought, right, I want to try and play cricket professionally in England. So I spent a couple of years over in MCC Young Cricketers, training at Lords 5 days a week and playing against county second 11 teams, which again was another building block for me and learning for me as a young 19, 20 year old living in London. It's you kind of sink or swim mentality. You kind of get on with it and you figure things out for yourself. And I think throughout my career, that's been my biggest strength is being able to figure out how I can change my training or what I need to do to become a better batter or bowler. I wasn't relying on a coach to come to me and say, listen, work on X, Y, Z. I generally went to the coaches and said, I need to work on X, Y, Z. So that those 2 years in England really helped me kind of become a self-coached cricketer, if that makes sense. And that was my biggest strength throughout my whole career. So yeah, that tournament was massive for me, and it's a great opportunity for the current generation. And my nephew's in the team. He's going to bat number 4 for the team, Robert O'Brien. So keep an eye on him. He got 100 4 days ago against Scotland
Yeah.
in a warm up game. So
You're
he's a great
cheering for him.
talent. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, he's a great talent. He's been, playing on the first senior team here in my club for the last 3 years, batting at number 3. As I coach the club now, so I put him in as a 14-year-old batting at number 3. So he's developed nicely. He obviously he's got a bit more work to do, but he's got the attitude and the
Yeah.
determination to put the hard work in and make it at international cricket. So hopefully Rob can, and the rest of the team, not just Rob, hopefully they can all go over and perform well in Namibia and Zimbabwe.
Yeah, you're talking about the young gen in under 19 World Cup. So, who do you think can Ireland, some of Ireland player can make to the senior team of Ireland?
Well, I think there's a couple of bowlers. Ruben Wilson is a very exciting prospect. I think this is his third under 19 World Cup. So I expect him in a couple of years to kind of make the jump into the senior team. The captain Ollie Riley is a very powerful batter and also a very strong bowler, very reminiscent of Boyd Rankin, very tall, 6'6", 6'7", very strong, nice strong action. So those two would be the main bowlers, I think. Obviously, I mentioned Rob, my nephew. I think he can make this transition up in 18 months or so to senior international cricket. But there's a good group of guys there. There's, I haven't done much work with the 19s. I don't know the full ins and outs of the squad, but certainly having been around club cricket, I've noticed a few of them, and those three that I've mentioned would be the three favourites for me.
Sure. We're cheering for him, and under your supervision, he's going to do great for sure. So, Kevin, currently, Ireland is working on an international cricket stadium in Dublin. So, how important would that be for visibility, infrastructure, and for Ireland in general? How important would that cricket stadium be?
Yeah, I think it's hugely important. I think to have a permanent home for Irish cricket, would add a lot of, as you said, a lot of influence around, and having that infrastructure available would be huge. I think it's very important considering Ireland are co-hosting the 2030 World Cup that they have that stadium up and ready and functioning well, and obviously the wickets playing well and all that kind of stuff. So it's hugely important in that regard. But I think from a cricket point of view, just somewhere where you can call, it's the home of Irish cricket. It saves Cricket Ireland having to, build these grounds and build these pop-up stadiums when they host bigger test nations. So yeah, having a permanent home is very important.
For sure. So, Kevin, coming towards my favorite question, although which hurts me a bit as a Pakistani fan, I'll be honest. 2007 Cricket World Cup, the Caribbean, St. Patrick's Day. What happened that day? Beating Pakistan, you and your brother Niall, top performers. How important was that victory for Irish cricket? You getting the wicket of Shoaib Malik, caught behind Niall. You massive shout out to him, very well deservedly. He got man of the match. So, what was the day like for Irish cricket? How did you guys celebrate? I mean, it just brings me goosebumps at this point in time. That would have been amazing.
Yeah, again, I mean that the whole tournament was the kind of start of Irish cricket. 2 days previously we tied with Zimbabwe
Yeah,
uh, on the 15th of March, and then obviously on Paddy's Day, we kind of woke up and it was a little bit overcast in Kingston, and
yeah,
I remember they pulled the covers back off the wicket, and the wicket was a little bit green. There was a little bit of grass on the wicket, and thankfully Trent won the toss and decided to bowl. And the bowlers, although we the fielders and bowlers put the ball in the right area, and the fielders took the catches. We bowled quite inconsistently. I think we bowled something like 25 wides or something. Um, but Boyd got a couple of early wickets. Andre Botha bowled a very good spell. I think he got 3 for 5 off 8 overs or something like that. Unbelievable figures when you think about it. And we kind of caught all our chances, and this missed Pakistan for 132 or something.
yeah,
And then obviously we thought, right, here we go. It's obviously going to be difficult. They had a good bowling attack on a wicket that was still seaming around. We knew one or two guys have to play good innings, and wasn't an ideal start when we were 2 wickets down for not many. But I think Niall's innings was absolutely
yeah.
fantastic, and I think
Absolutely.
he calls it his best innings that he's ever played for Ireland, which is I agree. I think it was one of the best he's ever played, if not the best. And to do it on the biggest stage for Irish cricket at that moment, there was no better man to do it with the attitude that Niall has, and the determination he has in and the stubbornness he has in his own game, and that type of thing. So he's the perfect man for that. And it was just a great opportunity to bat with Niall. For however long myself and we did, out in the middle, just hearing the Irish fans singing away and chanting, and it
Yeah,
was just amazing to be there, and a great win, and really kick-started Irish cricket and where it is, well, where it was and where it is now. It was the real starting point, and
yeah.
we did a good few days up in north of Kingston, just celebrating with the friends and family and supporters who were there. So we had 8 or 9 days off before the West Indies game, so I think we had a few Guinness and celebrated well.
Right, right. And Nile was brilliant behind the stumps as well. I mean, that dismissal of Shoaib Malik, and you guys were in berserk, of course. I mean, what a victory, what a memory.
Absolutely. I mean, Niall was not just a great left-handed top order batsman, but he was a fantastic keeper.
Yeah.
Probably the best ever to keep for Ireland. I think if you ask a lot of fans and a lot of ex-players, who's the top keeper ever played for Ireland, I think Niall's name will be mentioned 80% of the time. Absolutely no doubt about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, obviously. Hassan mentioned about the match against Pakistan, but I want to talk about that your innings against England in 2011 at Bangalore, that you set a record of fastest century in 2011, 100 or 50 balls against England. What was that performance? And you guys won that match as well. So if you want to take us through that innings.
Yeah, again, I mean, I think that tournament was just another kind of stepping stone for Irish cricket. It was our fourth World Cup. We'd obviously played in 2007, 50 over World Cup. We played in 2009 T20 World Cup in England, where we beat Bangladesh, and then we played in the 2010 World Cup in the West Indies, where we were actually in a very good position against England, but the game was rained off. We bowled England out for 120, I think, and we were, I think, 20 for 1 off 3 overs or something like that, and the rain came. So again, England went on to win that tournament actually. So who knows what would have happened if we had played and beat them? We could have got to the final of the World Cup. You never know. But so that the tournament in 2011 was the fourth chapter of Irish cricket, effectively. And we had a very very settled squad and very settled team under coach Phil Simmons. Every player knew their role. Every player had the kind of support and the backing of the coaches and the other players to play how they wanted to play and how best suited them towards the role within the team. So, and that effectively was my role to come in at number 6 and kind of be the engine in the batting order and kind of take the emphasis on and take the attack to the opposition bowlers. And I suppose the position we were in that game in Bangalore, pretty much dead and buried at 111 for 5. Myself and Alex we just said it at one of the overs. We said at the end of the over, we just said, listen, we may as well just have a hit here and try and have a bit of fun, and rather than bat kind of cautiously and get up to 260 and lose by 60 runs, we'd much rather get it bowled out for 150. At least we're trying to win the game. So that was the attitude we had, and obviously taking the power play a little bit earlier than potentially England were anticipating. I think we got 67 runs in 5 overs, and it kind of just gave the momentum back to us. And we didn't look back. So it was obviously a hugely successful moment and proud moment for me personally, but ultimately for the team it was a great victory after we lost to Bangladesh, sorry, in the first game, in the game that we should have won in Dhaka. So it was just good from the team's point of view to get the first victory in the World Cup and kind of get the tournament up and running.
And Kevin, that was a formidable bowling lineup. I mean, you had Graham Swan, you have Stuart Broad, you have James Anderson. I mean, it was a formidable bowling lineup of England. I was hooked to the TV, and I was like, who's this young Irishman taking the English bowlers to absolutely out of the park? So that was amazing. And you don't need to stress about the 2010 incident, because this time you've got the opportunity to take England down as a coach.
Absolutely, yeah. So looking forward to a month's time when the tournament kicks off in India. So yeah, it's a nice group for us. I think we've got 4 teams that we are very confident that we can beat. 2 teams are hugely historically have been hugely inconsistent in West Indies and Bangladesh. One day they can be the best team in the world, the next day they can really leave a lot to be desired. So when we fancy ourselves against Nepal, obviously they're an emerging nation and they're a very talented team. But very fortunate that we know a lot of their players and how they might play. And I think maybe the conditions in the Wankhede might not suit their spinners as much potentially. So that's something that we can take as a positive for us. And then our last games against England, who are obviously coming off a long series in Australia. A lot of and there's obviously a lot of I suppose uncertainty around the team and all that kind of stuff. So, and England historically don't have a great record against European teams in World Cups.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
Ireland beat them in 2022. Holland have beaten them a couple of times in I think 2016 in Bangladesh or in Sri Lanka. So
2024 as well.
Yes, exactly. So there's history there with England. So we've got no reason to fear them at all. So it's a really good draw for us. We obviously get 3 test nations, and for us it's to be able to put Italian cricket. We can really put it on the pedestal and show the world what we can do as a team and as a federation. So it's a great draw for us in terms of the high profile teams we're playing, but also gives us a chance to get a couple of wins and maybe get through to the Super 8s.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your time. But at the last, I want to ask a question that, as a former Irish Test cricketer, where do you see Ireland team in next 5 to 10 years? And as a Italy coach, where do you see these both team, Ireland and Italy, in the future? And one rising player from Ireland, who do you see can be the next star of Ireland cricket?
Yeah, I think I think where Italian cricket could go. I think we're obviously, if we can have a good World Cup here, it kind of puts Italian cricket on the map, and that hopefully will lead to potentially more matches against maybe the likes of Ireland or Scotland or Holland. For us, for the Italian team, we just need to be playing more games. Whether it's 50 over games or T20 games, we just need to be playing more games. Hopefully we can continue our good form in the 50 over cricket. We're currently second in the World Challenge League, and our next tour is in Tanzania in August. So if we can finish in the top 2 of our group, we'll get promoted into the next division, where we play. It's a World Cricket Qualifier playoff. So we play against the bottom four teams from World Cricket League 2. And so it's an 8-team tournament. Top four qualify for the World Cup qualifier, which will be in early 2027, I think. So we have goals and aspirations to become obviously a higher ranked 50 over team. And we're not far off potentially becoming an ODI nation if results go our way and we can finish in the top four of the World Cup playoff. I think we there's a chance we'll gain ODI status. So, and with that becomes promotion into the World Cricket League 2, where you play 42 games over a 2-year period, ODIs against the likes of Namibia, Canada, USA, Scotland, Holland. So it's a great opportunity for Italian cricket to get a foothold in world cricket and try and play more games and push the standard of players in Italy, but also get the word out around the world that Italian cricket is making moves. So it's a really exciting time to be involved with the federation. From Ireland's point of view, I think I'll be biased and say my nephew. I think he's going to have a good World Cup, this under-19 World Cup, and then ultimately for him, hopefully he can get the opportunities to play a higher level here in Ireland, whether it's the first class setup or it's Ireland A. Or he hopefully might make it into some Ireland senior squads in the summer just to be around and to train with the team. He's trying to get that exposure to training at a higher level, because ultimately that will make him a better player. So, whereas Irish cricket in the next 5 to 10 years, I think obviously hopefully having a permanent home is first and foremost. That should be built within the next kind of couple of years, and I think it's important, in my opinion, that they try to blood as many young players over the next kind of 12 to 18 months as possible. A lot of the squad are, over 30 now. So, kind of not coming to the end of their careers, but certainly coming to the back end of their careers. And it'll be nice to see a lot of, more young guys getting opportunities to play for Ireland and get that exposure to play at international cricket.
Yeah, so thank you very much for your time. It was an honor hosting you, and best of luck for your World Cup campaign starting next month. And other than that, who do you see top four of the World Cup?
Top four. Well, I think India at home will be difficult. Obviously, I think they'll be up there. If not favourites, one of the favourites. Australia, you can never count against Australia in the World Cup. I think South Africa are playing some good cricket as well. So those three, and I always like New Zealand. I think New Zealand are always thereabouts in the World Cups. They know how to play tournament. They know how to play tournament cricket. They've a very successful World Cup record. Maybe not as successful in T20 as opposed to 50 over, but I still think they've got quality players in their T20 team.
Yeah.
So they'd be my top four. They'd be my semi-finalists, and then Italy will finish fifth.
Yeah, interesting. But I guess you ruled out South Africa. Oh, you have South. Okay, so your top four are India, Australia, South Africa, and New Zealand.
That's my semi-finalists.
Yeah, and these are the top four, like the best team at the moment. So, because if you talk about Pakistan and rest of the team, they are still struggling to find their perfect 11. And if you talk about India and Australia, they know what they are going with. So, thank you very much once again, and hopefully see you next time on some another topic, another cricket topic. So, thank
Hopefully,
you
we'll
very much.
come to Dublin at your academy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much,
Thank
Kevin.
you.
Have a nice day.